Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following: IU Health Southern Indiana physicians, primary care and specialty care providers now accepting new patients in Bloomington and throughout South Central Indiana. siphysicians.org. The IU School of Education, preparing teachers, scholars, and administrators to improve teaching and learning in Indiana and around the world. More at education.indiana.edu. Main Source Bank, headquartered in Greensburg, Indiana, offering products and services to fit every stage of life. More information at mainsourcebank.com. Main Source, life needs a great bank. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Smithville Fiber, the Gigacity Company. Fiber Internet, HD, and digital IPTV in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com.
And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Our goal has always been to make sure the forest is healthy, and that's obviously derived by whose definition a healthy forest is.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk, how groups on both sides of the logging debate are using science to back up their claims about what's best for the state's forests. Plus, concussion research is a relatively new field of study. Ahead, we visit a lab that is developing tests to clinically diagnose concussions minutes after they occur.
We've seen a huge increase, but that's because we're able to identify them better. We're treating them correctly.
And in this week's headlines, could officials have settled on a new location for the Vigo County Jail? And the latest on the Marsh bankruptcy, what stores are being sold and what locations are being liquidated. Those stories and more right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. Well, a full show to get to this week, but first, Vice President Mike Pence has hired a personal lawyer to represent him in the intensifying Russia investigation. Pence's office confirms he's retained Richard Cullen, a former Virginia Attorney General and U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, to assist in responding to inquiries from Special Counsel Robert Mueller. Trump calls Mueller's investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 campaign a witch hunt. The Mueller investigation appears to be reaching a broadening circle of current and former officials. The Washington Post reported Wednesday that the investigators were looking into possible obstruction of justice. The Indiana Department of Transportation will take over control of I-69 Section 5 by the end of July. The state announced today it's reached a settlement with I-69 development partners and its bondholders. The state says assuming control of the project will not increase the overall cost of construction. The current cost is about $590 million, but under the new agreement, the state says cost will total $560 million. As part of the agreement, the state will issue lower interest highway revenue bonds in the amount of $246 million. I-69 development partners will also pay the IFA $50 million as part of the settlement. Construction is nearly 2 years behind schedule. County commissioners may have found a new site for the proposed Vigo County Jail and Sheriff's Department. The proposed location is a piece of farmland across from the U.S. Penitentiary in Terre Haute.
I'm happy that the county commissioners have made this step. This is something that I consider proactive. I think it's a better decision than what they looked at before with the location along the river.
Vigo County commissioners withdrew their choice for the new jail site last month. Some city leaders and residents argue that the area along the Wabash is designated for commercial and recreational use. Officials still need to debate the size of the jail and how to fund the new facility. Now, for more headlines, my colleague Barbara Brozier joins us, and she has the latest on this week's top stories.
Thanks, Joe. Indiana has submitted a proposal to the federal government to add a work requirement to its Medicaid program, the Healthy Indiana Plan 2.0. But Indiana never sought public comments from residents. By skipping that step, the state may now be open to litigation over the matter, according to reporting in Modern Healthcare. In a letter posted online, CMS says Indiana satisfied requirements for the proposal to move forward. Indiana's proposal is now up for a federal comment period through July 9th. Indianapolis attorney William Groth is again trying to get access to documents from Mike Pence's tenure as governor. Groth filed a complaint with the public access counselor this week. He's representing two Hoosiers who are requesting access to documents related to the carrier deal brokered by Pence and then President-elect Donald Trump last fall. 6 months after the initial request for the carrier records, officials representing the current governor said it wasn't detailed enough.
We see the governor's attempt to require further particularity as evidence of noncompliance and an unwillingness to be as transparent as the law requires.
The attorney says if the governor's office doesn't release the documents, the next step is suing the state. Groth recently went through a lengthy court battle over access to emails from former Governor Mike Pence. A federal judge says she'll make a decision in a case that could halt portions of Indiana's new anti-abortion law before the law takes effect July 1st. Planned Parenthood went to federal court to ask a judge to halt portions of the legislation that would make it more difficult for a minor to receive an abortion. Ivy Tech Community College will undergo changes this summer aimed at making each campus more community-focused, addressing needs expressed by campuses across the state. Ivy Tech's campuses currently serve students at a regional level, but going forward, they will focus on specific towns. The days of stopping by your local Marsh supermarket for groceries are nearly over. Marsh found buyers for 26 of its locations this week. Another 18 stores are in the process of having going out of business sales. A Kroger subsidiary is purchasing 11 stores in more populous areas, and another Ohio chain, Fresh Encounters, took 4 Ohio locations and 11 others around central Indiana. There's no timeline for when they will take over the grocery stores. Some Indiana lawmakers are concerned following a shortage in federal funds dedicated to census activities, which could potentially lead to an inaccurate census in 2020. As mandated by the Constitution, America conducts a head count of its citizens every 10 years, and the impact could have political implications.
So you can imagine the fights over redistricting here in the state if there are a lot of questions about this was not a quality census.
Kinghorn says that many people understand the importance of conducting an accurate census and will step up in Congress to ensure the funding is provided. He says that despite the cancellation of early pre-census activities and a new online system, the census in 2020 can still be adequate. Indiana Attorney General Curtis Hill is working with a bipartisan coalition of his counterparts across the country to investigate whether opioid manufacturers have illegally marketed or sold opioids. According to the Centers for Disease Control, in 2015, there were 1,200 opioid-related deaths in Indiana. Hill says the group is not divulging the target of its investigation, but he says they are reviewing what role manufacturers may have played in creating or prolonging the problem. Governor Eric Holcomb says the state's new Supreme Court justice is a critical and forward thinker. He announced his selection of Wabash County Judge Christopher Goff this week. Goff says as part of his judicial philosophy, he believes it's important to build consensus.
And I hope to build on the tradition that the Supreme Court of Indiana has of working towards unanimous decisions.
Goff describes his judicial philosophy as that of an originalist and a textualist. Now, subscribers to that philosophy, such as late U.S. Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia, interpret laws and the Constitution based on their plain meaning at the time they were written. EPA officials say remediation work around the old Bedford GM plant is complete, and they're shifting their efforts now to the actual plant site. During the 60s and 70s, PCBs were washed from the plant into a nearby creek, where concentrations rose well above the EPA's minimum acceptable concentrations. The EPA updated residents this week on the project and says the cleanup is vital to the health of the area.
Certainly the off-site impacts were affecting people's properties. That was something that I think everybody realized needed to be attended to quickly.
The cleanup is part of an agreement struck between the automaker and the Environmental Protection Agency over 16 years ago. Evansville Bishop Charles C. Thompson will become the new Archbishop of Indianapolis. Pope Francis made the appointment this week. His installation mass is scheduled for July 28th. Former Indianapolis Archbishop Joseph Tobin left to become the Archbishop of Newark, New Jersey in October. The Little Nashville Opry is set to open next year. The Little Opry burned down in September 2009 and caused $3 million in damage. Scott Wayman bought the property in 2012. He's had to push back the Opry opening date several times, but now he has secured $5 million to restore the property and reopen the Opry. Researchers at Indiana University, Purdue University, Indianapolis are getting insight into how people react to major national events. A study revealed that following the Sandy Hook Elementary School shootings in 2012, there was a dramatic increase in the number of searches connected to guns and ammunition.
People are hungry for information, and they're not getting information from government or educational sources. They're typically getting their information from gun rights or gun control advocacy groups.
Menachemi says he hopes the study encourages governmental and educational groups to respond quickly to crisis events and put out reports so people don't get inaccurate or biased information. And just in time for the weekend, Griffey Lake is back open for boaters. The city of Bloomington closed the lake this week so crews could work to treat Eurasian water milfoil that is invading the water. The last time the lake was treated for invasive plants was in 2009. And that's a problem, Joe, that several lakes around this area have. I know Lake Lemon was one we reported on last year.
And good timing, the weather. Hopefully we'll hold out for that boater out there too.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Barbara. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. We'll tell you why this researcher says you may see goggles like this one at sporting events someday. And we'll visit someone affected by logging in Indiana's forests. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
We are a nation of explorers. We seek new ways of living, of thinking, and of expressing ourselves. We take risks, we learn from experience, and we keep moving forward. That's why we encourage and celebrate the explorer in all of us.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. The amount of timber loggers harvest from state forests continues to increase, averaging about 14 million board feet per year over the last 5 years. That increase has environmental activists concerned, but the state maintains its good forestry management. As Becca Costello reports, both sides back up their position with science.
And I'm going to admit it, I hug my trees because they're still there.
Julie James manages a small organic farm in rural Monroe County. Less than a mile from her front door is Yellowwood State Forest. Being so close to Yellowwood is one of the primary reasons she moved here 8 years ago. Every day, rain or shine, she hikes the trails with her dogs.
I thought, I've definitely arrived. This is absolute paradise. I'm in a state forest, and state forests are protected, right? So it'll always be this way. I really did naively think that.
But 3 years ago, big equipment started rolling in on her small road. The Indiana Division of Forestry started logging tracts of land, and now James can't hike all the trails she used to. That year, in 2014, Indiana logged more than 17 million board feet from the state forests. That's a 391% increase since 2003. The rate of logging started to increase the year Jack Seifert took over as head of the Division of Forestry. As Seifert walks through Morgan-Monroe State Forest, he sees healthy stands of trees.
We have millions and millions of trees across the landscape, and we're only cutting less than 1% of them a year.
He says logging is a way to keep the forest healthy by removing dying trees to let young saplings grow in their place.
Our goal has always been to make sure the forest is healthy, and that's obviously derived by whose definition of healthy forest is. Our definition of a healthy forest is to maintain a pretty diverse species group as well as a diverse age group.
Groups like the Indiana Forest Alliance agree with that definition, but only to a certain point.
Well, first of all, a healthy forest involves trees of all ages, including dead trees. A healthy forest ecosystem would include quite a few dead trees.
The IFA says continuing timber harvests at the current rate will be devastating for the state's forests.
And the way that the DNR, the Division of Forestry, is managing our forests is primarily for timber production. So their idea of a healthy forest is one that is producing a healthy economic income for the agency. They're not managing for ecosystem health. They're not managing for the species that are most endangered, that require deep interior forests for their survival.
A bill introduced in the state legislature this year asked for 10% of forests to be set aside as old growth. That means no logging can take place there no matter what. That bill didn't make it out of committee. In its most recent strategic plan, the Division of Forestry does say it will work toward a long-term goal of preserving 10% of forest acreage in older forest conditions. But it hasn't said which areas are protected.
And so we're just trying to kind of hold their feet to the fire to make sure that we do get 10% of our forests set aside.
Seifert says he recognizes that a lot of Hoosiers aren't happy with the way the forests are being managed, and he's taken steps to try to restore some trust.
In 2006, we hired in an audit firm because of the environmental community saying, we don't trust you guys.
Every year, representatives from 2 independent agencies do inspections on Indiana state forest properties and publish their findings. And every year since 2006, the state has received high marks. University of Kentucky professor Jeff Stringer helped establish the standards for the National Forest Stewardship Council, or FSC.
One of my thoughts is the fact that the Indiana State Forest have reached out, under their own volition and get certified under FSC. I think that's positive. Certainly a lot of states don't have that, because at least it indicates to the public and those who are concerned about it what kind of practices are being used there.
But Stringer grants that auditing firms like the FSC assume that at least some logging will take place, and some environmental critics want a complete ban on timber production on public lands. The Indiana Forest Alliance doesn't go that far. They aren't opposed to logging entirely, but they do want to see less of it. But Seifert says the criticism is still unfounded.
It always amazes me that people would think that we would do something that would be detrimental to the long-term health of the forest.
For Julie James, the issue is personal. The area of Yellowwood near her small farm has changed so much, she's even considering moving away from the paradise she thought she had found.
Thinking about, can I stay and deal with this, or if they're going to keep logging like this, is that something I want to be around year after year and take these hikes and fewer trees are there, and to know that I'll never hike the same hike that I did when we first moved here. Just in my lifetime I won't see it. My kids won't even see it the way it was.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Becca Costello.
And Becca Costello joins us now for a little bit more. Becca, when the Division of Forestry goes out and hires a logging company into state forest, where does all that revenue go?
Well, most of that revenue goes right back to the Division of Forestry, but 15% of that money is earmarked for the local communities, the counties where the logging actually takes place. And that local money is split between local volunteer fire departments and then just the general fund of the counties. And timber production sales have actually generated close to $3 million for those local counties. There's about 19 of them. That's between 2003 and 2014.
Now, you mentioned the Indiana Forest Alliance wants to see less logging. What are some of their concerns?
Well, the Indiana Forest Alliance says if logging on state forest properties continues at the current rate, the forests are actually going to disappear in the next few decades. Now, the Division of Forestry Director Jack Seifert disagrees, and here's what he says.
We know what's going to happen here. We're going to regenerate 10 to 20,000 stems per acre. It's not like we have to plant trees. Our problem in Indiana is trying to control what species make it to the canopy.
Now, the U.S. Forest Service inventory does say that trees on state forest properties are growing at about 2.5 times the rate that trees are being removed from the forest. But the IFA points out the Division of Forestry can actually increase the amount of logging that they're doing on state forests at any time. And so that's why they're legislating or lobbying for legislation that will mandate them by law to preserve some of that.
And really quick, you mentioned the Indiana State Forest received high audits and high marks in an independent audit. Were there any criticisms?
Yeah, these audits look at strengths and weaknesses. So for example, one thing is that some of the heavy equipment can damage that fragile soil. So the Division of Forestry actually addressed those concerns and changed their guidelines. But the Indiana Forest Alliance says they've seen some of those guidelines actually not being followed consistently.
Becca, thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe.
Regulations for various sports leagues are changing their rules in the pursuit of avoiding concussions. The U.S. Soccer League now restricts children under the age of 12 from heading a ball in a game, and a growing concern for concussions is calling for new ways of accurately detecting them. WTIU's James Vavrick investigates the research of baseline testing for concussions and how these methods could make organized sports safer for everyone.
The sound of screaming children fills the soccer field at the Twin Lakes Recreational Center in Bloomington. This is the first time many of these kids have participated in an organized sport. Chris Doran works to teach the kids the fundamentals of soccer.
As a coach, we don't want the players to be fearful of touching the ball to their heads, because done properly and in the right circumstance, it actually can be absolutely a safe experience for the player.
Concussions are a common brain injury where the brain makes contact with the skull on impact. The impact kills brain cells and causes inflammation of the brain tissue. A typical healthy adult can recover from a concussion in just a couple of weeks. But experts say some victims of concussions never get better. They experience a condition known as post-concussion syndrome, where symptoms of a concussion persist for weeks or even months. Because of this growing concern, officials are tightening the rules on so-called high-risk sports. Take, for instance, headbutting in soccer.
What U.S. Soccer did 2 or 3 years ago is they sat down with some physicians and they said, you know what? For our players in our country, it's not necessary for them to be heading the ball at the age of 7, 8, 9, or 10.
That age is kind of arbitrary, though, because one haunting aspect about concussions is that we still don't know a whole lot about them. In Dr. Nicholas Port's lab at the Indiana University School of Optometry, researchers are diving into relatively uncharted territory.
So we have 2 short tests left. Do you understand the instructions?
Mm-hmm. Part of Dr. Port's work is to find an accurate and objective way to clinically diagnose concussions minutes after they occur. His lab is using eye-tracking technology to measure cognitive performance in athletes.
So the eye tracker is measuring eye movements. So like all video-based eye trackers, we're monitoring movement of the eye by the reflection of an infrared LED off the cornea plus the movement of the pupil. We're simultaneously measuring balance with a Wii balance board. And then what we have is a battery of classic neurology of eye movement exams.
At the beginning of the season, before a sport starts, Dr. Port's lab gathers data on athletes while they are healthy. It's a method called baseline testing, which ensures researchers have accurate information of an athlete before a possible injury.
And then if they were to get injured, we remeasure their eye movements to see if they've been affected.
Port's team has gathered baselines from 1,500 athletes and performed eye tracker testing with more than 100 athletes with confirmed concussions. Some of that data comes from Bloomington High School North, where athletic trainers from the school are praising the lab's efforts.
What it's really giving me is a lot of hope in the sense of what we've known when I first came out to what we know now is extremely different. This eye tracking would give us the ability to give another piece of objective data that we currently don't have.
As parents consider whether to let their kids play sports at the youth level, Port says it's important to weigh the pros and cons.
And that's a very personal decision for parents and for kids. I think it's really important to keep in mind the total benefit of playing organized sports for most kids. I think the benefits far outweigh the risk.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm James Vavrick.
The folks at the IU School of Optometry say the data collecting portion of their study is now complete, and based off their data, it's possible that eye tracker testing could be implemented as standard protocol for diagnosing concussions during future games. The Monroe County Public Library is showing off its new eco-friendly book bike.
A lot of people use the library. I know we're very popular in the county, but some people don't realize all the range of offerings we have. So this is a way to promote some of the hidden features of the library that some of our even regular users might not know about.
The bike features a solar-powered electric motor and reaches a top speed of 20 miles per hour. And finally, take a look at the future site of this new park. A patch of green space between I-65 and I-70 will be devoted to watching traffic. An online crowdfunding effort for the park raised more than $48,000 for the project. The Indiana Housing Community Development Authority will provide $41,000 for the park. Construction will start later this year. That's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following: IU Health Southern Indiana physicians, primary care and specialty care providers now accepting new patients in Bloomington and throughout South Central Indiana. siphysicians.org. The IU School of Education, preparing teachers, scholars, and administrators to improve teaching and learning in Indiana and around the world. More at education.indiana.edu. Main Source Bank, headquartered in Greensburg, Indiana, offering products and services to fit every stage of life. More information at mainsourcebank.com. Main Source, life needs a great bank. Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Smithville Fiber, the Gigacity Company, fiber internet, HD, and digital IPTV in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com.
And by WTIU members, thank you.